A visionary leader, staunch nationalist, and educator. These words best describe Filemon Dionisio Tanchoco. He believed passionately in education as the only way out of poverty for the Filipino. His unparalleled leadership, generous spirit, compassionate heart, and outstanding contribution to nation building will always be remembered. Born on November 20, 1887, in Malabon, Rizal, to Adriano and Dionisio Tanchoco. After his father, Adriano Tanchoco, died when Imon was just 2 years old, the widowed Dionisio supported her family by selling dry goods around the dusty, humid streets of Malabon and Navotas. Growing up, Imon would help his mother by carrying the wares on his head and shoulders. He studied at the same time, realizing early on that education was his ticket to a better future. Imon earned the title of Perito Mercantil at the age of 20 and went on to complete his studies as pharmaceutical chemist 3 years later. He acquired the degree of Bachelor of Laws in 1917 and passed the bar that same year.
He was very much for the education of the youth because he said education is the best thing that a person could be able to accomplish because that will uplift his desire to be a successful person in this world.
His shining moment as a lawyer came just 3 years later in a landmark case that put the integrity of the nascent pharmacy industry on the line. The young attorney Filemon Tanchoco defended a group of pharmacists accused by the American colonial government of selling adulterated drug preparations based on the U.S. The accused pharmacists were acquitted. Shortly thereafter, the Philippine Pharmaceutical Association was established to promote the interests of Filipino pharmacists and their industry. Attorney Tanchoco displayed not only brilliance but gallantry as well, for he had rendered his legal services free of charge. As a teacher, Attorney Tanchoco started as an elementary school teacher in Malabon. After 2 years, he taught in Colegio San Jeronimo, Colegio San Pablo, and Liceo de Manila. He became a professor and later dean of the Escuela de Farmacia del Liceo de Manila, which would evolve into the Manila College of Pharmacy. Attorney Filemon Dionisio Tanchoco married Purificacion Gallego and blessed with 4 children, Filemon Jr., Luwalhati, Renato, and Luningning.
My father is a very quiet man, simple, and he used rather to teach me how to sew, darn clothes. And he used to use as the thread is unraveling the tie of the parakeet, which was quite popular during the war.
After World War II left the Manila College of Pharmacy and Dentistry devastated, his wife stepped in and revived the spirit of Attorney Imon.
He was never a man who would raise his voice, but he always mentioned to us when we were quite small children that if we are going to be naughty, he will spank us. And his slippers was a leather, very hard leather. That's why we were all afraid of that. But none of us was experienced any spanking from him. Well, if I remember right, that at home, we all had these sayings printed a piece of paper and all over the doors of our house in Tagalog. And what I will always remember is that the saying na pag ang kumot ay maliit, mamaluktot, at pag lumaki-laki, saka ka mag-unat-unat. And that is what we have always tried to adhere to.
I believe that it signifies my grandfather's integrity, adherence to the moral and ethical principles in his life. We grew up in a very close community. We all stayed in a compound, and we intermingle with each other. And he will always say that family has to be together and you have to be patient with each other.
Driven by their conviction that education was the salvation of the poor and their war-ravaged country, they gathered all the courage and money they could and rebuilt the institution. As early as 1945, the school opened with the addition of the College of Liberal Arts. 3 years after the war, the institution became a full-fledged university with attorney Filemon Dionisio Tanchoco as its first president. Initially, as MCU's administrative officer, Mrs. Purificacion took in charge of ensuring quality and keeping an eye out for numerous opportunities for growth expansion.
That's the reason why when we were thinking of, my parents were thinking about buying this lot in Caloocan. They said they cannot borrow because they have never borrowed any money, because anything that my parents purchase is when they have the money. That is what we have been trying to follow in the university. If you don't have the money, then don't dare to spend and just try to save so that you can be able to buy it without taking any loan.
With its dedication to democratizing access to quality higher education, MCU has gained many prominent friends and supporters over the years. Gaining full university status just 3 years after the war, MCU builds on its heritage as the Manila College of Pharmacy and Dentistry to gradually expand its health science offerings to optometry, nursing, and medicine.
And I believe that the values are integrity, respect, unity, equality, and commitment to the development of the Filipinos' education through the Manila Central University. And I believe that the past couple of years, the institution was battled a health crisis, encountered enrollment challenges, and had doubts about higher education value.
As MCU's founders, they were among the first to envision the major role of the private sector in widening the base of professionals, men and women, through quality college instruction. In the case of MCU, the deliberate focus on health sciences early on enabled the school to provide high standards of education in their chosen field through a high-caliber faculty and superior laboratory and ancillary facilities. As it turned out, the institution's core strengths went beyond its solid academic credentials. For 118 years, MCU finds itself in a drastically changed environment. Thousands of professionals in the health sciences and other fields have emerged from public and private universities and colleges over the decades.
And I believe that major education like hybrid learning models, technology as an enhanced online education, and prioritizing micro-credentials, meaning streamlining the school to work. I believe that MCU will progress no matter how, setbacks we have, because I believe that if the administration will keep in mind the ideals of my grandfather, it will be a success in the future.
Well, we always hope that we will be successful in really being able to accept students who are really in need of getting education so that they will be successful in life.
Attorney Filemon Dionisio Tanchoco, a visionary leader, a champion of excellence and integrity, an icon of a world-class education for the young Filipino people. His greatest legacy, the Manila Central University, lives on as a shining testament to that faith. We are forward-looking to a brighter future by advancing that same pioneering and innovative spirit our institution has engraved in us since 1904. We light the way as we provide world-class quality and value-based education. We are rooted in our history, and we will continue to share it to the world.